Hi everybody, it's Kathy here from Kathy Loves to Scrap, and today it is Thursday and we are keeping it simple sometimes on Thursday. Yes, we can do layouts that look amazing with a few little additions. This is the layout that we're doing today, and I have chosen it from a sketch from Scrapasketch, so go check them out on Facebook and you can see some great ideas. I've gone through all my scrap pile and I've married up all the colours that match the photo, and that's how I usually choose my papers, is through the photos. And then you can see I'm going to use those flowers there to cut out as my simple elements to the page. I have a plain cardstock background as I always do, and I always cut a 1-inch frame and gut it out so I've got extra space. I have this great peachy coloured layout background that I'm going to use on this layout, and I'm going to build it now for you. Remember, when you cut out your frame, it is 1 inch all the way around, and that allows it to have some sturdiness. I take off 1/4 of an inch from both sides, that way it will sit nicely on the frame. Right, I've gone ahead and I've stuck that down. And now we're going to use some watercolours. And if these are just a plain watercolour palette that you buy from any of your local art supply shops, and I'm just added some water to the grey, and I'm just adding a few little splatters. Now this is a quick, simple way of adding some interest to your layout. If you haven't got a watercolour palette, get yourself one. It's really good to add simple splatters to your page. I have mounted that main piece as you saw, and I also gutted the blue because I used it to mount my photos. I have the strips, and the heart one wasn't long enough, but I'm going to show you how you use that. So as you can see, the splatters are now dried on the paper, and they add a little bit more of an element to the page. All that blank space in the middle, that's what's going to get covered up, as you can see by this, but you can see when I put my photo on it that it's not quite wide enough and it hides behind the photo. So what I'm going to do, and this is a good cheat, because I don't have to make it longer because I didn't have a scrap big enough to do that. So I'm going to cheat and I'm going to make it longer because I have strips running across. I can do that. So I'm moving it up so it's right up atop there, and I'm placing it. And when you have a pattern on the bottom that you can use that has a running line through it, it makes it so much easier to line things up. And that's just another cheat when keeping things simple. And so you can see that I have that strip across the middle there, and that's okay because I'm now going to cover it up with these hearts, which I'm going to extend almost to the border, and that covers up that space when the photo will take over in the other area. So now I have extended that strip across, and it looks like I've got a perfectly long straight line when I put the photo down. I've added in the text one to the bottom, and I'm adding the triangular shaped one to the top. So you can see now I have 3 strips across the main, and that's it. I've popped this photo up using foam tape, and that adds some dimension and some leveling. And as you can see, I'm now covering up where that little split is, and nobody knows that the paper underneath was shorter than what was required because the strips actually cover it up, and that's always a great way to keep it simple and not worry that you don't have enough stash. You can always extend your stash, and that's an easy way of doing it. I fussy cut out 2 of those flowers from that paper that I showed you, and now I'm going to utilize more of these triangles. So your paper does the work for you. I didn't have to cut the triangles. All I have to do is just cut them out of the paper. It's already there for me, and the colors match what I need. So I'm going to put in the 3 arrows here, and that's to add directionality to the layout. These arrows are going to point to the title, which is really important because you have a title on your page. I don't always have a title, but sometimes I do, and this one does. So the arrows point to the title. And then I'm going to add more triangles down here from the page, and I'm going to switch the color. So I've gone with the blues at the top, and I'm going to go down because as you can see there's blues at the top of the photo, and then I'm going to use the peaches down the bottom, and you can see at the bottom of the photo the peaches in the wood grain of the decking there. This photo was my daughter and I. We just gotten on the ship. We were having a look around. It's her first time cruising, and we got our first drinks, and the photographers were out on deck, and then of course we had to take our first photo, making it real. So it was pretty exciting because it was her first cruise. She was very, very excited, and I was enjoying her excitement. So if you haven't cruised before, you really need to do it at least once in your lifetime, and it is really very exciting the very first day that you get on board the ship. It's all that hype, and it just bubbles over. So this photo I really like because it really shows her excitement and how happy she is on that day. So I'm using thickers. Now, I don't know about you, but I have thickers, and when I take them off, the stick doesn't always come. It could be that they've been old stock, the heat's got to them, whatever. So I always make sure that I re-glue those letters so that I don't lose them, and I'll do that off screen. So that only takes a few seconds just to glue them into place so that they don't move. I've added in 3 dots around the flower clusters on both sides, so I'm using the thicker dots that are on this sheet just to add my 3 dots instead of pulling Nouveaux out. I'm just using what I've got and keeping it very simple. So I have 3 dots down here, and I'm going to add 3 dots to the top, and they're all the colours that are in the page and in the photo, so it all complements together. As you can see, it all just fits in and they blend nicely, and that's very important when you're keeping a layout simple, that you use the colours on the photo to make it stand out and blend. Then you could type it into your computer and print out a strip, but it's just as easy to handwrite, and it's nice to have your handwriting because in the future people will want to see what handwriting was like because it changes over time. Being a teacher, my handwriting style has changed drastically over years. I've gone from my high school handwriting to my first year's teaching handwriting to now a more comfortable style of the two. So it shows how it changes, and that's something that future people will, take notice of, and it's always a nice personal touch to put it in your own handwriting. So I've put in my journaling down there. I've got my title. I have 2 very simple clusters, and I use the triangles of the paper to draw your eye to the title and then to the journaling, and that's little adding of those paint splatters, add just that little bit of a extra to it. Quick, simple, nice and clean, and that glue dot will dry clear because I use the tacky glue that dries clear. Can see the journaling in there, and that's how that page came together. So keeping it simple on a Thursday is really the name of the game. This is how quickly this layout came together. Check out Scrapasketch on Facebook and you'll find really easy sketches to follow. This one's got 3 strips of paper over a square. I've added in a title and 2 very, very basic clusters using paper that exists in the ones that I've already got and am using on the page. So if you've got any questions, leave it in the comments below. I hope that something here inspired you. I really do like keeping it simple on Thursday. I'm coming to you from down under, and I'm Kathy from Kathy Loves to Scrap. Leave me a like, lets YouTube know you want to see more of what I'm doing. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It costs you nothing, and it also gives you notifications when my next video comes up. I'll always get back to your comments. Leave them down below. And remember, you can always find me on Instagram, where I have the same name, Kathy Loves to Scrap, and all my layouts end up, even those without videos. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Happy scrapping!